Are we? There we are. Welcome. Happy Wednesday, AP Lang. Today we're going to be doing some rhetorical analysis, everybody's favorite. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you. If you want to head to your Google Classroom, you can open up the assignment that was posted today at 8 a.m. Oh, you can see my email. It's fine. I only get 1 million emails a day. All right, here we go. Here is the doc. This is where you want to be. Okay, so again, I kind of said that sarcastically. I know sometimes rhetorical analysis can be intimidating or perhaps boring for some, but I am so excited for you guys to read this text. I think it's really interesting. It kind of loosely connects to the argument you guys were thinking about yesterday in terms of like authenticity or being like fake with artifice. Only we're looking at, instead of looking at like the political world, this is in regards to the press or journalists. So your directions here are, today you're going to read the prompt and the passage to analyze the rhetorical situation and the choices that the writer makes to achieve her purpose. Today, you are only annotating the text, so you're doing the analysis, the reading and the analysis piece, but you're not writing anything today. So tomorrow, you'll be doing the writing where you write 2 paragraphs, an introduction, and a body paragraph instead of a full essay. But don't worry about the writing today. You're just doing all the prep work. So step number 1 is to read the prompt, because remember that the prompt is super awesome and helpful because it gives you all of that rhetorical situation information. It gives you the space. So we're going to take a minute even right now to kind of do this together. So if you have your document open, you're going to be typing in this box. As I kind of read through the prompt, you can even start typing if you want. Who's the speaker, what's the purpose, who's the audience, context, and exigence, and then we'll come back together and kind of talk over it so you can fill it in. Okay, so the passage below is the opening to a speech made in 1960 by American journalist and politician Clare Booth Luce to journalists at the Women's National Press Club. In this speech, Luce went on to criticize the tendency of the American press to sacrifice journalistic integrity in favor of the perceived public demand for sensationalist stories. Read the passage carefully, then in a well-developed essay, analyze how Luce uses this introduction to prepare the audience for her message. Support your analysis of her rhetoric with specific references to the text. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of piece through this together. I'm looking for you guys for some help. So who is our speaker here?
Clare Booth Luce.
Clare Booth Luce. And what do we know about her?
She's an American politician and journalist.
Excellent. You guys are killing it. Okay. In terms of the purpose, what was the purpose of this speech? What did you guys notice in the prompt?
To criticize the tendency of American press to sacrifice integrity.
Perfect. Criticize the tendency of the press to sacrifice. Let's see if we can kind of put it in our own words to make sure we understand it. So they're sacrificing. What do you think they mean by journalistic integrity? Do you guys know what integrity is?
Yeah.
What would be like another word for
that? Braveness?
Not necessarily bravery, but journalists, they have kind of like...
Honesty?
Yes, there you go. Okay, so the press to sacrifice maybe honesty or truth. And they're sacrificing it to kind of in favor of this perceived public demand for sensationalist stories. So they're sacrificing the truth sometimes just to sort of like sell this story, which again kind of loosely connects to what you guys were thinking about yesterday with the argument. You know, like kind of making it more dramatic, making it more interesting. Okay, who is our audience here? It's pretty specific.
The journalist at the Women's National Press Club.
Perfect, yeah. Journalists at the National. Okay, context, when is this going on?
1960.
What is it, Alex?
1960.
1960. So I don't know if you guys have gotten there yet in your history classes, maybe not yet. So it's okay if you don't totally know a lot about the 60s, but just kind of keep in mind that's at least how old it is. So you wouldn't want to be referencing anything like modern day because this is an older text. It's not too crazy old either. Modern enough, kind of in the middle, you know. 1960s, maybe kind of the start of civil rights and things like that. Civil rights movements, maybe we can add that in. But like there's still like segregation and things like that going on. Okay, and so the exigence, what sparked her to give this speech, well, that kind of ties into both the purpose and the audience that you guys already got. Clearly this person has been asked to give a speech at this particular event. So that's kind of when we think about exigence, it's just kind of combining these two here. Okay, so at the press club, we'll just abbreviate it now to talk about journalists. And that's kind of all we have for now. As you read the speech, you might find more of a spark of like why she really felt the need to give this message, but that's kind of all we get from the prompt alone. Okay? All right, so once we got that, we're just like reading the text with all of this in mind. Okay, she's a journalist talking to fellow journalists, criticizing them a little bit about this idea of like, stop sacrificing the truth for just like selling the story. Okay, so now that we're kind of prepared, we're gonna read the passage. So I chunked the passage out into its different paragraphs just to make it easier for annotating. So what you're going to annotate for is those three important things we always look at with rhetorical analysis. We first need to know what the author is saying. None of the other stuff matters if we can't comprehend the message. Then we need to think about why the author is saying it. So again, we're going to continue to look at space as we read. And then finally, how is the author saying it? And that how is when we get into the rhetorical choices. Okay, so I did the first section for you guys. And the reason I did that was just because I wanted to make sure you had a good model of like the quality of annotating that you should be doing to make sure you really understand the text. So we'll still read over that first section together, and I'll kind of explain like my annotations for you. And then we'll go on and look at the rest of the passage. We're not going to do the whole passage together today because I think that would be a little too much for the class. But I just want to kind of get you moving and grooving along. Okay, so Claire Booth Luce begins, I am happy and flattered to be a guest of honor on this always exciting and challenging occasion. But looking over this audience tonight, I'm less happy than you might think and more challenged than you could know. I stand here at this rostrum invited to throw rocks at you. You have asked me to tell you what's wrong with you, the American press. The subject not only is of a great national significance, but also has, one should say, infinite possibilities and infinite perils to the rock thrower. Okay, so first I'm kind of breaking down like what is she doing here, what's she saying at the beginning of the speech. So she's starting like just by kind of introducing her feelings on the whole situation. And so what I really noticed was like this, we have positive, happy and flattered, it's exciting, but then she says, I'm also less happy because this is challenging. And then even at the end of the text here, when she says there's infinite perils to the rock thrower, well, she's the rock thrower, right? She's the one that's being told to throw rocks at them. So I'm like, she's definitely a little bit nervous, maybe a little bit scared of the consequences of this kind of message. So I just sort of summed up and paraphrased. She's introducing this with both positive and negative feelings. For this is really important right? She says that it's an important, significant message, but it's a really difficult task to do. So I just sort of summed that up. Okay, then after I'm thinking about what she's saying, I got to think about why she's saying it. So again, she directly is addressing the audience. So when I think about space, this is definitely like in regards to audience right now. She's kind of setting the audience up, kind of preparing them almost. She's about to throw rocks at them. So she's trying to kind of set them up to receive those rocks or receive that criticism. Again, I was able to figure all of this out just based on really having that good understanding of the prompt. And then last but not least, once I got the main idea going on, why she's doing it, I want to think about those rhetorical choices that I'm seeing. So I've already mentioned multiple times this idea of throwing rocks. So she's not literally throwing rocks. So I know that we have figurative language going on here. She's not physically throwing rocks at them, but she's, you know, insulting them or criticizing and punishing them, and so that's kind of like the verbal or the mental rocks that she's throwing. So we've got some figurative language. The other thing I notice is that she's really like because she's talking about herself and the audience a lot, she's really trying to build that relationship with the audience. So that's always ethos or appeal to ethics. She's being kind of vulnerable here and showing her feelings and her emotions. She's trying to gain trust. So I can kind of see that. Do you guys have any questions about kind of walking through those pieces of the annotating? Are you good? Got a thumbs up right there? That makes good. Oh, hi, Mariah. Makes good. That didn't even make sense. Does that sound good? Does it make sense? Thumbs up from anyone whose video is on. Sweet. Sweet. Got multiple thumbs. Thanks, guys. Okay. So then what I would kind of like to do is have you guys try the next one on your own. You don't necessarily have to type it out yet, but I want you to try thinking through it, and then we're going to come back together. And that's the only one we're going to do together is the second paragraph of the text. And the thing, too, I want you to notice with the second one is it has a footnote, too, to kind of help you better understand the message. Okay, so let's go ahead and take about 3 minutes on our own to read the next paragraph and footnote and try to think about what she's saying, why she's saying, and how she's saying it. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I'm going to ask for another thumbs up whenever you guys feel like you're ready to just sort of start to talk through these annotations here. What, why? All right, let's go ahead and kind of start thinking it through together. So this paragraph definitely builds on the previous one. You know, she's kind of expanding on maybe why this is a difficult task. What do you guys think she's saying? Like, why is this such a difficult task for her? What do you think?
the way she was explaining it, it seemed so like negative and like it's not friendly. So it's gonna be hard to try to step out that zone to connect with the audience in that way.
Yeah, great job, Abdur. Anybody else? Alex, anything to add about what you think she's saying here in this one? Why she's feeling this way? What is she essentially like about to do to this audience?
Call them out.
Yeah, call them out. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that in our paraphrase then here. So she's, you know, nervous because she's going to call them out. And she knows, even though they asked her to, oops, I suppose, this isn't going to kind of like have a good vibe, I guess, right? As Abdur said, she says in her response, it's not going to give them a friendly or enthusiastic response. So this isn't going to create a positive vibe at all. Right. Even if you want to be criticized, like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I definitely do. Even when I'm asking for criticism, it still doesn't feel good to, like, I don't know, be called out or be criticized, even if you're asking for it. Okay, so again, if we think about this space here, what letter of space do you think becomes very relevant here? Speaker, purpose, audience, context, exigence. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Yeah, Abdur, you're definitely on the right track. Purpose and exigence, because what you just said, she's calling them out, right? That's part of her purpose. Okay.
Right.
So she's preparing them for her purpose of calling them out. Okay. And then how is she doing these things? How is she kind of preparing them? What rhetorical choices do you notice in this section?
Where she says the delicate art of giving an audience hell.
What do you notice? What do you notice there, Alex? That's a really good part to pay attention.
Would it be like a hyperbole?
Yeah, it's definitely like figurative because she's not like actually giving them hell.
It sounds like sarcastic too.
Yeah, it sounds like that because it's sort of like contradicting, right? Like she wants to be delicate, but she's criticizing them. It's this very like kind of complex thing, trying to be like nice, but still call them out at the same time. So if we think about that kind of contradiction, delicate art of giving hell, is like kind of, it's almost like an oxymoron. Which just means a contradiction, right? Like she has to find a balance, right? She's trying to be mean, but she's trying to be delicate at the same time. And noticing these complexities is really important too. That's one of those things that gets you that sophistication point on the rubric, is being able to see those subtleties of like positive and negative, delicate yet harsh, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. What about when she references these two people? Do you guys know what rhetorical strategy that is?
Appeal to authority?
Yeah, appeal to authority, or Any other thing you call that sometimes?
Oh, credibility.
Yeah, but she's kind of making a reference where you're not gonna get it unless you know who those people are.
An illusion.
Yes, illusion. So, because even though we're given a little more information, this is literally all I know about those two people, you know. So they were religious speakers that were really widely known at the time. So those people at the time definitely know who they are, but to us, it kind of means a little bit less. So it's an illusion as well. Okay. Man, you guys are killing it already. So it's just kind of broken up that same way, paragraph by paragraph. Okay, and then once you're done reading the passage, you'll have had all of these annotations. So what, why, and how. And that's going to help you with kind of like your planning for tomorrow. So now consider the passage as a whole. What was her overall purpose for writing the speech? And then you're going to notice you found all these different rhetorical choices. Which ones are you seeing are most significant to her message? You're going to choose at least 3 of them to kind of shape your thesis statement, okay? Because you are going to write that intro paragraph tomorrow, okay? Any questions on wrapping up that assignment today?
So just to be clear, the part highlighted in yellow is for tomorrow.
Sorry, say that again, Destiny.
The last box is for tomorrow.
No, the last box is for today as well. This is like your last thing to do today, but this is like your preparation for writing tomorrow.
Okay.
Because you want to have like the purpose and your thesis in mind before you actually start writing.
Okay.
Yeah, but this really is only going to be like one sentence for purpose. And for your thesis, even if you just list, this doesn't really even need to be a full sentence yet. I mean, you can, right? The author achieves this through use of ... You know, we already talked about appeal to ethics. Maybe you see that one as significant, figurative language. But you want to choose those after you finish the whole thing and you've seen which ones are used the most throughout. Okie dokie. Good clarifying question, guys. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing with you guys. So yeah, essentially your task is just to go through this whole document today. That's it. Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
No.
I love gallery view so much. You know what? It kind of makes me think of the Brady Bunch. I don't know if you guys, probably never watched the Brady Bunch, but like it has everybody's little face on the gallery view. Okay. All right. Well, if you're finding the text difficult to understand as you're going through and you're trying to annotate and analyze, remember that I do have office hours from 1 to 2 today, and I can help you through the text or coming up with the overall purpose. Okay?
All right.
All right. I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.